I don't like. I listen to a handful of music podcasts, and I feel like I've listened to enough now that I've gotten a few different styles or flavors of music podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we go deeper than anyone, and we're definitely less professional.
Welcome to Backtracking, the show where three old friends take a second listen to classic bands, influential albums, track by track. I'm Roth Bagdasarian.
And I'm J. William Hall. We'll be taking this journey together, providing context, both personal and historical, on some legendary bands.
I'm Dan Tiden. For our third season, we've selected 15 of our favorite albums that we think deserve a good old-fashioned
Backtracking is the greatest podcast. Raph and JW, and I make this podcast every week. Backtracking is the greatest podcast. Get ready for podcast action.
Gentlemen, we return to discuss Candlemass. It was unexpected what occurred last week, but we simply had too much historical and personal context to fit into a single episode that would have been less than 2 hours. Therefore, we broke it up. We did all of our thingamajiggums in the first episode, and today we will dive deeply into side A and do a track by track. Overall impressions, we've talked a lot about this, but in my opinion, if you are able to approach this album with zero ironic distance, it is a near flawless, perfectly cohesive, classic album. There are some flaws, one primary flaw that I will talk about later, but for me, I think this is this is a very close to perfect album.
It's a fully realized vision, which I respect, and I know, no, this isn't like a backhanded, I think it's cool that they, the lead writer, bass player, Leif, right? Leif. Had this vision, and as I read it, he had thought of this several years prior, before the first version of Candlemass really got together. And so some of those demos that are on the extended album are from those years, and they had a different singer, and so it just took a while for them to get to a point where they could take this on.
This is a big story to wrap your head around.
Yeah, but I would say that in as much as a perfect concept album is one in which the songs are indecipherable and it feels like a constant storyline throughout from start to finish, this in that respect is a perfect album.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have had no idea what they were talking about if I hadn't read through all the lyrics, honestly, and even then I have questions, but we'll get to them.
All right. So, now this is, I think in my opinion, this is like the peak of this band. There is a lot that happened with this band afterwards, but I think among the fans, this is the classic lineup, including Messiah Marcolin. They had a few other singers over the years. But this is kind of like the classic. It is a point of contention among the Candlemass fan base is that it is a faster album, and there are in fact some kind of thrashy moments on this album, which is not like a thing that they had really done before. And there's a lot of criticism about the tracks that were reworked from those 85 demos.
Right.
And I think it's Edge of Heaven or Under the Oak appears on one of the earlier albums.
Yeah, I think it's on the first album, but different singer. different
singer. Yeah, and if you had an opportunity to listen to that version, I will tell you, I without a doubt prefer the Tales of Creation version.
Yeah, I mean, just what I heard of the early one, I mean, you know, just with that different vocal, I mean, you kind of can't compare the two in a way, like, you know, because Messiah takes it, you know,
yeah,
to that
I mean,
operatic kind of place.
Yeah, it just adds this additional level of, like, you know, theatricality to these songs that, you know, when you hear them without that, somehow it feels hollow to me. I don't know. It just feels like you can't downgrade it. So it, you know, and his operatic vocals are just like a major league. That if somebody were to say to you, describe to me Candlemass in 2 words, you'd probably say slow and operatic, right? Or something like that.
Maybe if you gave me 5 words, those 2 words would be in there.
Yeah. Okay. So I think the biggest gripe that I have with this album, and you guys are going to laugh at me for this, but I have to call it out because it bothers me. There are way too many fade outs on this album, and I actually think this creates a problem specifically on the second side of the album. That I'll talk about when we get to that. But you know, were you guys expecting that?
I certainly expected you to notice it, but I had noted it because I thought, you know, we had to talk about it.
Yeah, there are a lot of fades on this. Okay, so are you guys ready to start side A? Are you prepared?
Wait. When do we cover the cover?
No, we don't cover the cover until we start the second episode.
Okay, that's what I thought.
The second side. Okay. Come on, why are you not checking the Slack channel?
Is there really a Slack channel?
Yeah, of course there's a Slack channel.
I thought it was Discord, but anyway, what a schmuck I am. No, I saw side B of Cardinal.
Yes.
And
no, we're gonna cover the cover.
And I'm like, I heard the cover,
we'll
the cover,
play the
and
jingle,
I was like, wow, this is a great
we'll
song. Cardinal's a great band, and I was like, oh, it's the cover song that our in-house band recorded.
Yeah, did.
And I was like,
that's right.
I think we should put cover the cover on iTunes and Spotify and see how well it does. The cover song.
Why don't we get into side A, the first track on side A? Are you guys prepared?
Dude.
Yeah.
All right. Excellent.
I would say how prepared I am if it wasn't a family show.
It is The Prophecy, 1 minute and 26 seconds. Let's go.
Holy was the star in which you were born. To a world where darkness and fear take form. A lonely soul with a heart of light to fly. Beyond reality, the
Okay, so let's start with the lyrics. At some point here, we're going to have to just lay out the whole concept of the album. There's no way to beat around the bush.
And that's a good one to do because this is kind of like an overture for the whole album.
Exactly
that's what I thought
like
when
an
I heard
overture.
it, honestly.
Yeah, it is exactly like an overture. It sets the stage that what we are going to be hearing is an album that is the story of kind of a divine comedy type journey through heaven and hell. And essentially the fate of humanity and the world being decided by one person.
Are we talking about lyrics first or music first?
Lyrics first.
Okay, can I say something about the very first line?
Yeah.
And this goes back, this harketh back to what thine J. William Hall had spoketh earlier. The very first line of Tales of Creation is, holy was the star from which you were born. And that could be taken out of the Bible if the Bible had a baby with science.
Right. And so I think we have to say, like, all right, so we're in the lyrics here. This is really the overture. It is some kind of narrator character describing what we're going to be hearing about. He's describing the main character. He's kind of like telling us what the main character is going to go through. And essentially he's saying, this person is going to decide the fate of humanity based on these trials of like visiting heaven and hell.
It's kind of like
stuff.
Fountain of Lamneth
Jay William,
from Curse of Steel, which has the same kind of like cover.
Yes,
I am born, I am
true.
me, I am new, I am free.
That's right. Yeah.
I'm getting chills.
So Jay William, did you get all this?
Well, no. The first thing that I got was, okay, what you said, Rolf. Holy was the star from which you were born. It's like, okay, this, that immediately biblical Jesus, something's going on. And then it starts to get into that thing where I'm like, they're from Sweden. Their English is obviously fluent. But like the way that they word some of these it's like you gotta like think a little extra hard to kind of sort of like figure out what the meaning is, until they get to the end where can I succeed where the mighty have failed, okay, and recreate the harmony from where salvation hails. What?
No. Guys,
you know what I mean?
This is the entire story he's telling us. Holy was the star from which you were born. This person, the narrator, is addressing the main character and essentially saying, you're a chosen one, born into this terrible world that we all know today. A lonely soul with a heart of light. Okay? Beyond reality, forgotten in time, Rolf. Where? Forgotten in time.
So
seek the heart, seek in your dreams, visit your nightmares.
I have the feeling we have the cinematic universe of Rush and Candlemass like colliding here in some way. And there is a way they can exist together in a rational universe.
Well, I think you can definitely draw a parallel there, like this kind of storytelling,
I will say, Rolf, I think that's actually pretty true. I think you could compare this to Hemispheres pretty easily.
Yeah, and I think where the gaps are, a new band could be formed to cover those gaps. See what I'm saying?
We'll get Getty from Rush, and then we'll get
Messiah Marcolin.
No, I'm talking about us, guys.
Duo.
I mean, we got the chops.
Oh, us.
We got the chops.
All right, but guys, like, this is the only question I have here, and it is just something that I thought about. Is this narrator the voice of God?
I don't know.
Are these words coming from the perspective of God?
I don't know who they hired
to do
these
so
fucking
it's spoken
voiceovers.
word. We should say that.
No,
it's just voiceover.
I think he's an oracle. I think it's an oracle who's giving a prophecy.
I'm talking about whoever's voice this is. They made the wrong choice. This voice does not have the gravitas necessary to be the voice of God, or like even just like the narrator of a story like this big. Like you got to have like, I feel like I wrote somewhere whose voice I'm thinking of like, Vincent Price in Thriller or whatever.
James Earl Jones or Morgan Freeman.
or the movie, the
Charlton
the movie
Heston,
guy,
guys. Come on, Charlton Heston.
World,
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. So the narration is done by a guy named Jim Bachman.
Yes.
And I will agree that the male narrator, I think, could be stronger here. But it is narration.
And this one isn't
as
bad. This one isn't as bad as the next one. Like the later one is. Okay. And I don't mean to throw Mr. Bachman under the bus. I tried to follow and see like, well, who is he? And I couldn't figure out who he was. It didn't seem like he had other credits. But like he sounds American, okay?
Yeah.
This is a Swedish doom metal band. Like you get somebody who sounds, like Valhalla coming down on you. It's
That's
not
right.
this like kind of like. I don't know.
No, I will agree with that. I will actually. That isn't something that I wrote down here, but I have over the years thought that.
Yes.
Now, okay, so the music. Let's get into the music. I think one of the things that is cool about this that almost announces it within the metal community is like something's happening. They're doing a concept album. this is weird, is that there's a synth swell before the music really comes in. And that, you know who else does that, Roth? Iron Maiden in Seventh Son of a Seventh Son.
Great song.
When they do the synths for the first time on that album, it like you're like, ooh, they're going for something on this one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's what Candlemass is saying.
Was this the first appearance of a synth, do you think, in Candlemass?
I actually don't know that, but I would like to believe it is.
Well, this is what it made me do, which was kind of cool. You know, they started to come in, and I'm like, oh, that's really like, you know, I have to turn my volume up. And right as I'm cranking my volume, it's like, bam, and it just like all came in. I'm like, they did that on purpose. Those clever Swedish bastards.
Yeah, but this, like, when that kick in happens, you immediately get the feel of what you're in for. It is just sludge, you know?
Yeah.
It is undeniably heavy, but it is that really kind of sludgy. It's not just that it's slow, it drags. You know what I mean? Like, it has this drag to it that I think is so cool.
Yeah, I mean, and it's a crushing riff, you know, the sort of main riff. I guess it is like the overture, you know, and I listened to one of the tracks on that Spotify version of the album Extended. There's a big interview at the end. Did you listen to that?
Oh yeah.
And he was talking because I was listening to the drums, you know, which are monumental, and you know, and the fills are kind of going all over the place. And I remember him complaining about it, and I didn't know if it was this drummer or like an earlier drummer who he said he would never play anything the same way twice.
Oh,
he got bored playing it the same way. But it was like, in this type of band, this type of music, it's like you gotta like all be in sync, kind of, you know, at this slow pace. It's challenging.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think that one of the things that you know, I totally agree with. Once I got into this kind of metal, I mean, you guys both know this. In a band, it is hard to play slow and, like, feel together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's, like, a lot harder to play slow than it is to play fast, don't you think?
I mean, without marijuana, yes. But yeah, I totally get what you say. And by the way, the thing about the prophecy too, we need to put a pin in this one for later.
Okay.
And you'll understand later. I don't want to give it away.
Okay, all right.
So
we're putting
put
a
a
pin
mental
in it.
pin in the prophecy as we discuss future tracks here.
Okay. All right. So anyway, I think we are. Are we done with the prophecy?
Yeah, it's a short song. It's 1:27.
All right, so let's move on to Dark Reflections. It is 5 minutes and 5 seconds. Let's go. All right, guys, so why don't we talk about the lyrics first, but we have to say right up front, this is the first time we hear Messiah Marcolin, and he announces his presence with some fucking wild operatic singing. I mean, this is some operatic shit.
Yeah, this definitely is coming in like immigrant song kind of style.
Yeah.
Like hitting hard, and I like how it just like comes straight out of the prophecy, just bam, like it just hits you with the opening riff. And this actually led me down a little bit of a rabbit hole because I wanted to investigate what I didn't realize was already a termed thing, the heavy metal gallop. Like that rhythm.
Steve Harris.
Yeah.
I guess, at least according to my research, my backtracking, I found that it traces back to the William Tell Overture, the Lone Ranger theme.
That's funny. That's funny.
And so if you listen to, you know, this Candlemass riff,
I think you're giving these bass players too much credit and these guitars.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that he was. I'm not saying he was ripping off directly the William Tell overture.
It's evocative of William Tell overture.
Right.
A simple 4/4 beat would not suffice. So we must have some sort of galloping, sensibility towards it. So it has some sort of movement towards something, some end. I don't think they thought about it that I think they were just fucking around with their fingers, and they were like,
But the gallop rhythm in metal is like a thing.
It is, and that should be a whole document.
You know.
That should be a whole treatise, like a PhD treatise.
Yeah. It is. And I mean, everyone would, I think Iron Maiden is very well known for kind of having a ton of songs that have that feel. But it is that, and that's exactly what this is, the music. But this is actually like, J. William, you pointed out something that really I want to talk about a lot overall. The first song blends into the second, so there is no logical break in the tracks, right? It really is kind of, they are smushed together, right?
Yeah.
And I love that about the first side of this album. On the first side of this album, I think every song flows into the next one, either literally or in some kind of logical way, so that the first side of the album feels like a single piece of work, like in a very literal way.
Yeah, and I mean, the challenge of telling a coherent story in chronological order over the course of an album and organizing the music so that it has a rise and fall of an album, that's a pretty nifty trick.
Yeah, it is a super nifty trick. All right, so but back to the lyrics a little bit. This is the first time we're hearing from the main character of the story. So these lyrics are written from the main character's perspective. And basically what he's saying is that he's died and is somehow stuck in some kind of like, he's been resurrected, but he's trapped in this void type thing.
Purgatory.
Yeah, he's in a purgatory right now. And he's, sad, but he's just kind of figuring all of it out.
I mean, this is rebirth, and it's a nightmare. So he's reborn into a nightmare, basically.
Yeah, he's not happy about it. There's not a lot of happiness in these
so
lyrics.
It's not like he died and this is hell. He died. He was reborn, and his new life is hell.
He's not at hell yet.
Yeah.
He's not at hell yet. He's stuck in some kind of
this is his creation.
Nowhere
this is the new creation.
So, but like musically, this is a much more upbeat version of Candlemass than what you get introduced to in the first song. But there's this I think it's a really cool song, and it's actually reworked from one of the early Nemesis demos that were done in '85.
Oh wow!
But like Jay William, I don't know if you remember that like cool kind of breakdown part that's in like the pre-chorus with that. That I think is a little Soundgarden-y.
Yes, for sure. And, I mean, just the way that his vocal comes in, like there's definitely Soundgarden songs where Chris Cornell is doing that kind of operatic wail.
Yeah.
And a band like Alice in Chains or even like Nirvana, like some of that just the heavy, sludgy riffage kind of songs, like this is not far removed from that. Like if one of those really bands came out and did this song, like it would fit,
Yeah, it's kind of like the music is pretty it's similar, but what the grunge stuff lacked was any theatricality. You know what I mean?
Right,
Theatricality in grunge was like a do not go there.
Yeah, and grunge was not trying to tell a story of creation, that just wasn't the vibe of the sea or whatever, like nothing this grandiose, I guess. But there's some funny the one line that I highlighted that I again attribute to the like English as second language kind of thing, but the witch brew was drained. I couldn't escape my fate. Wrong was this place, full with awful disgrace and hate. Just the way wrong was this place, full with awful disgrace and I don't know, like, you know, there's just like little elements like that.
I was dead, awake in hell, a lonely corpse to break the spell.
I mean, I applaud it all. Like, I think it's awesome, but like,
I think.
This song kicks butt. It does. Like it just
totally
comes out of the gate galloping, and it just kicks butt. Like the vocals and everything.
Can we talk about how they start melting your face off with guitar solos in this song? And you're just like, oh my god, these solos are crazy.
Yeah, and they're all over the album. I mean, almost every song has some extended.
They're like solo riffs.
And they build
like
on
riffs,
each other.
but they're solos.
Sometimes they start with like a solo riff, and then like, you know, it like harmonizes itself. And
I
then,
know.
like,
Yeah,
the thing comes out, and then the tapping starts, and then the squealing starts, and like, I mean, it goes through like all these different movements that, you know, and again, like, it's one thing to listen to all of that, but like to watch somebody pull it off live, you know, like, I think is kind of a different beast altogether, you know.
It's very, like, these solos are very kind of that neoclassical Randy Rhoads style of metal solo. Randy Rhoads from
like
Ozzy's
who
band.
would you compare? Like, is Eddie Van Halen a fair comparison? Steve Vai.
Yeah, I don't know, Ralph. What do you think? I mean, these are they're Yngwie Malmsteen.
Yeah, I would go more
probably,
of like a metal,
right?
like more. I mean, Steve Vai, Eddie Van Halen, they had a very unique sound that to even like the lay listener, they could tell who they are. Maybe not between like Joe Satriani and like, you know, Brian Johnson, let's say his guitar teacher, but for a lot of these like shredders, like Yngwie Malmsteen, like if you were not a trained ear, you might not be able to tell them apart.
This guy's playing sounds like he's like a trained. Like, what is his background? Like, do you know? I mean, he sounds like a classically trained. Just,
he might.
I mean,
like
the tapping and the runs are insane. You know,
They're totally insane. He is classically trained to rock your fucking socks
I mean, the
off.
run is
Tenacious
free
D.
as the this parasite that's been in the romaine.
Yeah. No, the guitar solos, but I mean, I will say that, like, I am not generally a guitar solo guy, but listening to this album, I was just like, fuck, man. These guitar solos are awesome, and I wanted more of them. And they do so many, like I love it when they'll, like, pull into those harmonies, and they'll both play together for a section of it,
Right.
and then, like, the solo will start going again. I don't know. It's just really cool.
I was definitely impressed with the way that the solos stack. Like they build and build and build, and like each section does some other crazy technical thing. I mean, a lot of it repeats. Like sometimes it's the finger tapping. Sometimes it is the dive bombing, like, you know, the whammy bar, like hitting the screamy high notes, and you know, and sometimes it's just straight up riffage, where they're just all in sync playing like whatever riff together, you know. So it's like they have, you know, I guess the thing about this album that stands out is like this is a coherent, like, well-oiled machine, you know, at this point. At least they sound that way on the album. This doesn't sound like anyone in the band is struggling to keep up, which is, you know, what I think most musicians would be doing.
Yeah.
You know.
And I've got to say, like, the drums on this song are just incredible and thundering, especially as it starts to move into the end of this song and into Voices in the Wind.
What a transition.
Well, right. So
you want to transition to Voices in the Wind?
Well, this it's still the transition actually begins while this song is sort of like fading out, right?
I know. They go right into each other, which I love. Again, I love. All right, so let's give it a listen. Voices in the Wind, 15 seconds, guys. It's a quick track. Let's go.
North is cold, summer is late. South is sorrow, surrounded by hate. West is far, a dream you are creating. East is here, and your fate is awaiting.
Okay, guys, I will say that I fucking love this little section. This is, I think, my favorite 15 seconds on the whole record. Because, like, you've just come out of this ass reaming of a first or a, really second track, right? And then this song comes in, and it is so spooky, and it's this, like, beautiful, light woman's voice just saying those, like, all right, so the lines are, north is cold, summer is late, south is sorrow, surrounded by hate, west is far, a dream you're creating, east is here and your fate is waiting. It's so
well,
cool.
It's also, I mean, it's about gratitude, about being present. It's about, not pining for things you don't have.
Okay. What's your beef? How can you have a beef with this track?
Again, with the voiceover.
No, this one is
this
great.
Just somebody's daughter that
This is great casting.
They pulled in and were like, like it again. It sounds like an American voice, and I'm like, this is Swedish doom metal. Like, get a creepy Swedish accented, old witch.
You want the Swedish
witch
accent?
I want an old witch with a Swedish accent.
Oh, really?
No, that's cold.
Oh, no. See, I don't think this is an old witch. I think that what this is like an angel figure that has come to him in the void and has told him, like, all of these directions are not where you're going right now. Where you're going is with me because you're about to start your fucking trial.
Well, so I think if Bjork did it as a little girl, younger woman rather, it would have been.
I think they should have gotten Rosie Perez. No, they should have gotten that woman from the White Lotus. What's her name? You guys know who I'm talking about?
Which season?
What, April Ludgate?
Oh! I like the 4th of July.
Yeah, that lady.
Jennifer Coolidge.
Jennifer Coolidge. North is cold, summer's late.
Oh my God! So my daughter, my 14-year-old daughter, has a friend who does Jennifer Coolidge perfectly. I'm going to text her this, and I'm going to say, "Hey, can you have her do this?"
That's so funny. We will definitely put that into the podcast if we get it back. All right, so you don't like the casting here, but you cannot deny that the actual text that is spoken is awesome as hell.
Well, I mean, yeah, in a like, D&D, Viking saga, Leif Erikson kind of way, sure. Like, but what does it mean? How does it advance the story? I'm not.
Oh, no. I literally feel like this is another character.
You're right. She's introducing the narrator like you're going to trial or whatever.
Yeah.
But I feel like just the way they did that voice, like, couldn't they have like added some like echo, like to make it like bigger and scarier, or like voices in the wind, voices like plural, like couldn't there have been like more voices?
Could
or
have,
something?
yeah. Listen, I don't. You could have gone
seconds.
further with this. If you went further with this, I would have been okay with it. I would have actually had the sound of cold wind or something.
Well, here's what I want to make a connection with my world, like that acoustic guitar figure that he is doing. It reminds me so much of songs by the Chameleons.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So maybe we'll circle back and I'll try to compare them to Candlemass.
We should have asked them when we interviewed them if they were influenced by Candlemass's album Tales of Creation.
I'm telling you, there's some parallels there. I'm telling you, and that acoustic guitar thing sounds like early Chameleons. I'm telling you. Okay. Anyway, that's all I have to say.
Are we ready to move on to Under the Oak, guys?
Yeah.
Okay, this is 6 minutes flat. This is an epic. Let's go. Okay, guys, this song must have knocked you out of your chairs.
Yeah, I mean, this is, 6 minutes. Like this is an epic, and this clearly is one of the foundational songs of the entire album because they released this already on their first album, different singer.
Yeah.
And probably, I don't know how listeners received it then because it wasn't part of a larger story, but it's got a lot of just riffage. It's got a lot of sections. It's got a lot of like vocals. Like, it's got it goes into another hauntic, the acoustic arpeggio riff kind of thing.
Yeah, it's got a bunch of
drums.
sections.
I mean, it goes up, down, and all around.
Now it opens with a guitar solo. When was the last time you listened to a song that opened with a guitar solo?
Eruption.
I mean, and it. It chugs. There's a lot of volcanic pyrotechnic, stuff like this. Yeah, this one throws the kitchen sink, and you're right. Like right out of the gates, it's like.
But like, this song actually is subject of a major debate within the Candlemass fandom.
Okay,
and
I
generally people prefer the original version of it because it is substantially slower. I will tell you, I disagree with that. I think this version is great. I think the performance and the vocals and the production are all so much better than the original. And I don't think the slower tempo really adds anything. I think this tempo is as good, if not better.
Well,
and it's
not at 6
fast,
minutes,
really.
A slower tempo would only add time. It's like, 6 minutes is already a lot.
But now these verses are just so heavy, aren't they?
Yeah, anguish.
Yeah.
Froze my blood and chained my soul.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, this is a central track to the story of the album. This is back to the main character. He's basically saying, after having fallen asleep under this oak tree, he is kind of like now in this beginning his trial. He realizes he has his trial. He feels terrible about that. He feels like he's like bereft of all hope. He's fully despairing. But there are so many like kind of like lyrical and vocal performance moments in this that like I think are so cool. There's this line where Marcolin goes, "A bone in hell, a price or a sacrifice, yeah," and it's just like
that's
so
Chris
metal.
Cornell. That is Chris Cornell outshined, where he goes, "Oh yeah," like going into the second verse or whatever. It's just like a little. But I was like, either Chris Cornell like was directly influenced by that, like, because it's delivered in almost the same like that kind of voice.
That's so funny. I've never noticed that, but I think I believe you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. And I mean, you think about the riff in Outshined and those
Yeah,
kind of
no, I
Soundgarden
know.
songs, like they could be Candlemass riffs,
Yeah. But I mean, like there are just so many great little local moments in here. And the first time they go into that chorus, we're at like half times and they're like, "Oh, there was a time that love was mine." And it's just so epic.
Yeah,
and then when they break down in the bridge, that like they just go to the acoustic, and then the synths, and he just sings quietly, "My heart is bleeding for my race."
Right.
Okay, so
Edling
said this was the only song from the original project that the other members liked enough to use in this album.
Yeah, I mean, it is a good song. There is no doubt about it. It is epic in scope and scale.
I will say a couple other singers that I think I'm reminded of when listening to him sing. Freddie Mercury is one.
Interesting.
Okay, yeah.
That operatic kind of, very, commanding the stage sort of
very
voice.
optimistic demeanor.
but also like Craig Wedren from Shudder to Think.
Yeah.
Like I hear a lot of the, whoa, kind of like,
I thought of that this week as well. And when I interviewed Nathan Larson, I don't know if you remember, but like maybe it might have been after the interview. But he asked like what some of the other albums were that we were covering, and I mentioned Candlemass, and he's like, "What's that?" And I described it. He's like, "Ooh, I'm gonna check that one out."
Yeah. Well, I'm surprised, that he, because I mean, you hear some of that kind of metal, muscular riffage, incorporated into Shudder to Think songs as well.
Yeah, and Wedren
the other one
definitely
is
has
Jeff
that
Buckley.
same very heavy vibrato. Yeah, okay.
Could you not hear Jeff Buckley doing a doom metal like this style vocal kind of performance?
I could.
Yeah.
I think I could.
He was into Zeppelin.
He's had some songs that
like,
were sort of slow metal like kind of songs, and his voice was singing very similar to Messiah's in this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, those were some vocalists I thought of as I was listening to this song. But another thing that I noticed was, again, you at least I assume, doom metal, like all of these lyrics are about how much they love Satan and grotesque whatever. But it's like this is like this real like almost weepy. It breaks down into that section where it's just him singing with like the guitar, again the haunted arpeggio guitar kind of thing, and it's very dramatic in a like Jesus Christ Superstar.
No, and like the song ends where he's begging for, he's like, give me a sign, and then like that last chorus is a glimpse of sky, bless my eyes.
Yeah, and it actually is like this sort of optimistic moment.
Yeah, very
where,
optimistic.
The light comes through. He's pleading for a sign from God. And the light comes through right at that moment, and it ends on this optimistic, big, grand, guitar solo section. Optimism abounds.
But this song is definitely the climax of side A, right? This feels like, side A is leading to this moment.
Right. Yes. Something big is about to happen. We're there.
Yeah. All right. Are you guys ready to move on to Tears, the final track on side A?
Yes.
Yes? Yes. All right. Good. 4 minutes and 11 seconds. Let's do it. This is a tough one. We find our hero crying on the ground under the oak tree.
Yeah,
it's sacred oak.
I'm just gonna say outright, this was the song that I woke up to, and I was like getting out of bed, and I'm like, step into the dreams of wonder, open up the gates of wonder. This is the chorus.
Yeah. And it's very sludgy. This is like extremely sludgy.
Yeah, now this reminds me of like like Codeine, kind of style, like slow, sludgy sort of riff,
It totally.
And big, heavy, slow core beat. That's slow, heavy beat.
It's very sludgy, but it really showcases Markolin's kind of like vocals again, sitting up on top of this somewhat cleaner song overall, or more spacious song. And the chorus like totally sets us up. All right, so here's something I'm gonna get into the album sequencing again. But like, you guys are in a great concept album. I think it's great when the moment where you have to flip the record is like the end of an act. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so if you listen to Pink Floyd's The Wall, like Goodbye Cruel World is the end of that first
it's great.
act.
Such a great,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
such a great ending to us.
And it's such a great way. I mean, I could go
Goodbye.
on and on about why that's so great. Yeah, that last goodbye having no reverb on it is just so weird. Anyway, so, but it leaves you like knowing like, okay, I'm through Act 1. The next side is going to be Act 2. This song, I think, it perfectly does that as well with that chorus, basically. You know, it is the charge that our hero is receiving, you know, now that you've cried into the ground and this tower has grown out of the ground, Jack of the Beanstalk style, like you've got to go into the tower. And he like is realizing like the only way I'm going to be able to get out of this is if I go into that spooky, weird tower.
I think
right. The only way out is through.
And I think
That's
lyrically,
right.
and this is what we were talking about earlier about how, you know, the general sort of theme of this is not dark and evil as it sounds, as the music might sound, but this song is ultimately about, you know, from grief and pain, there's revelation and growth, and you know, there's a future that comes from it.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
and Messiah Markland's vocals really, you know, because I mean lyrically it's, you know, it's very bright, it's very optimistic, but his vocals also are very
it's operatic.
Yeah.
There's just no denying that it's operatic. You know what I mean? All right.
There's also another, you know, crazy guitar solo.
Oh
in
my
this one.
God.
Yeah.
And I think the best thing about that guitar solo is the way that it concludes with that unison harmony section.
Yes. And you know what that reminded me of immediately was in Queen, Bohemian Rhapsody. They were like goes into the nothing really matters. Like suddenly it goes into this, you know, everything slows down into this harmonized guitar solo. It's the same move.
Yeah. It's epic. Now,
but
then
there's
very
quickly,
big but.
Yeah, very quickly it returns to. I mean, that opening riff is just like mean sounding.
Yeah.
You know? And so you are like that double guitar solo makes you feel like everything's going to resolve in this beautiful way, and then it's suddenly like, and it like cuts it off.
Yeah. So like, I will say I think this is a great ender for side A. I think it accomplishes exactly what you want for kind of a end of Act 1 in a concept album, but it is the first crime of fade outs that we have on this album. This song fades out, and it 100% should not. It would be so much more impactful if they had figured out a way to end the song.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that they decided to fade it, because you're right. It is sort of like the end of an act, and you almost want that curtain drop kind of, you know, thing. Like, it seems like they you know, could have somehow ended it more sharply, but surely when they do it live, they must have figured it out.
Yeah, well, that is honestly that's really my biggest and only quibble about. Not only quibble, but my biggest quibble
maybe
about
like
side
you know
A.
they like nailed every note, every rhythm on the entire album except for the last two notes of this song, so they had to fade it out.
No. Well, you know what? I feel like we've hit every note on this album, guys.
this side of the album.
Because
I doubt
we're done.
that.
We're done with side A.
Yes, there's
I
still
think
a whole side
if
B.
you stack up the number of notes they hit on that first half versus the notes we hit,
Yeah.
which is higher? Which is
They
more?
would be higher. They would be
You
higher.
think
They
so?
hit a lot of notes. In those guitar solos, lots of notes. All right, but guys, listen. All we have to do now is say goodbye. You just have to say, go on the Instagram at BacktrackingRocksROX. Go on the Twitter at BacktrackingRocksROX. Go on the YouTube. The channel is BacktrackingRocksROX. You can send the Gmail to the Gmail box. I will read it, and that's how that'll work. It is, of course, BacktrackingRocksROX at gmail.com. Guys, it's another one in the books.
That's right. In the long epic scroll, in the runes carved onto the rune stones.
Be found thousands of years.
All right.
Track by track.
That's right.
All right, thank you, both of you. I will see you next week when we cover side B, we cover the cover, and we finally decide what is the best song and what is the worst song on the album.
15 of our favorite albums that we think deserve a good old-fashioned backtracking. Backtracking is the greatest podcast. Raph and JW, and I make this podcast every week. Backtracking is the greatest podcast. Get ready for podcast action.